Okay,
expired. So at the
there we go.
bottom
I
of your
just
screen, Miss Marsha, there's like a little, you got it? Okay. There you
there
go.
we
There I
go.
am.
So
You know
that's
what it
much
said?
better.
Guys, it said it was expired. So I don't know why I did that. But anyway, we're on now. No more background noise. Let's go.
Let's hit it. So I don't have a lot of questions today because the questions that I do have, I feel like are gonna get kind of deep. So I hope y'all have questions too, because we can grill this one. Let's grill it.
No, man.
So last week we talked about what self-care meant to us. So let's ask first and foremost, what does self-care mean to you?
All right. First and foremost, I want to say Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. I think I posted something on Instagram yesterday. There's no blueprint for this. It's going to get better. It's a work in progress. Keep doing your thing. Just know that as long as you have that community to support you, everything will work itself out. And that's important as far as self-care. I think of self-care in several different areas, right? First is hygiene. So everybody thinks of hygiene when you say hygiene, everybody thinks about cleanliness, right? But I want to focus on a couple of areas that we may overlook or just push to the side. One of those is medical attention, right? Doctor visits, going to the dentist, making sure you're keeping up with those appointments, right? If you let those little ailments start growing bigger, then they make you feel bad, right? And then you start worrying about them. So you're not really taking care of yourself. So stay on top of those things. Ladies, you're going to love this. Your spa days, do that. Fellas, we like grooming, going to the barbershop and doing those things. If that makes you feel good, I know I have personal grooming techniques that I like to use. So those make me feel good. Continue to do that because it leads into this next one, which is when you step out into the world or step out into outside of your home, present yourself well, right? Make sure you look like you know where you're going. I say that all the time, man. If you present yourself like a homeless person, then guess what? People are going to start treating you like that. I know me specifically, I think maybe last year I started saying, hey, I'm not wearing flip-flops or Crocs or anything when I step out. I'll put some tennis shoes on or some nice dress shoes on. I want to make myself more presentable, but that's something minor, and I challenge all of you, man, just think about something minor that you can do to better help present yourself that way, right? So another area a lot of people probably think about but don't actually do, and that's what we put into our bodies, our eating habits, right? Making sure that you're putting in things that make you feel good, because I know once I eat a lot of bad stuff, man, I feel terrible, especially like the next day. My stomach doesn't like me. I'm having all kinds of issues, right? So I think it was 7 or 8 years ago, I made a lifestyle change. With the support of my family, we had the kids involved. My wife, of course, was instrumental in that. And we said, we're going to start eating this way. So no more fly-by-night diets, right? It was a lifestyle change. And I feel better right now. As a matter of fact, I feel better than I did when I was in college, So take that challenge on. Make lifestyle changes, not short diet changes or short diet goals, right? So this next one is probably more controversial, but I still want to talk about it, and that's bringing in spirituality into this. I would challenge everyone to get rooted in a Christian-based religion. I'm using the word rooted because that sets the foundation for everything. If you want to explore other religions, once you become rooted, fine, by all means, because the more breadth you get of the different religions, that'll help you become a more well-rounded spiritual individual. And I know I'm rooted in Catholicism, but right now I venture off into all different realms, and that just helps me become more rounded when I'm interacting with individuals, when I'm dealing with stressful situations, right? It just helps me understand that there's a higher power, and some things are just out of my control, and it helps me be at peace. Once again, self-care. If your mind is at peace, then it takes over your body. Your body can relax. And then this last thing, getting into the mentality side of self-care. what are you doing to make sure your mind is at peace? Are you testing yourself? Are you giving yourself challenges, right? I know I challenge myself mentally, you know, like coming up with scenarios, weird scenarios, like what would you do if this happened or whatever. Nikki, she'll surprise me every now and then. She'll say, hey, have you thought about what you would do if this were to happen? Now, I'll be honest, I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer. But it's one of those challenges, right? You think about it. And that way, if it does happen, hopefully it doesn't, because typically it's a bad scenario. But if it does happen, you're prepared. You're prepared for it. So just different mental exercises, right? What are you guys doing? And then also, I think I had one more note pertaining to the mental side of things. So I know a lot of people.
He came ready, y'all.
So I know a lot of people like to listen to music. I promise you, that's the best form of mental exercise for me, or relaxation. Because I don't know if you heard of the phrase driving with no destination. Man, there are so many times I've just gotten in my car and just drove around town, just listening to music, putting myself in the right frame of mind to tackle life's challenges, right? As a matter of fact, we had a visitor last week, and I asked her, how was the trip? It was like 45-minute trip. Oh, she said it was perfect. And I said, how come? She said, I had my music going, I was in the right zone, and it was great. So use music to your advantage. And I mean, once again, put yourself in the right frame of mind. You don't listen to those aggressive type of music when you know you're going into a stressful situation, because guess what it's going to fuel? It's going to fuel aggression. Yeah, you're right, sis. Yeah, it's going to fuel aggression. So those are the different areas that I think about, and I try to work on those things throughout the week. You can't get to everything every day, so hopefully that gives you some insight to what I do. And you can take some of that and incorporate it into your own lives, you know?
Wow. All right, Nikki, I know you told him to be prepared.
But golly.
So I have a question for you. You mentioned about taking care of yourself health-wise. I wanted you to go into a little bit more detail with that. And the reason why I say that is because I think that as Black men, most times they don't take good care of themselves, because usually they grow up and they play sports of some kind, or if not sports, they're out and about. You know, they're very athletic when they're growing up, but as you start to age and get into your 30s and your 40s and your 50s, I think that you lose sight of your health and taking care of yourself. And then as you go along, eventually you start having all these types of health issues. And one of the health issues that I want to mention is prostate cancer, because that runs so high in Black males. And I just feel like that we just need to, can you talk about that a little bit? What made you decide that you really needed to try to change your life around and start being more healthy?
Hey, Bam, how's it going, man? Thanks for joining. So that's a great point. I think a combination of things made me reconsider how I approach my health. One was because just personal health issues that I was having, and then two, fear, right? So a lot of people around me started having some serious health issues, and I came to the realization that could be me, and I didn't want it to be me because I have kids, right? And I always want to be in their lives as much as possible. And if it's something as simple as missing 3 years of doctor's appointments, I mean, that's easy. Why not just be proactive, take advantage of the situation, especially if you do have insurance, and get that covered, right? Get it checked out. You have a lot to live for, especially Black fathers. You don't want to leave your kids alone in this world, man. So that's motivation enough for me, and that's why I took the challenge and did it.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
Please go get a prostate exam, Black men, please.
Thank you. Yes,
Please.
I have that on my list, and trust me, I'm terrified of it, but hey, I got to do it.
Yeah, that's huge. That's all. Those are great tips.
Yeah.
So,
Anything else about self-care from a man's perspective? I know you want your men looking good out there.
Well, this is the one thing I noticed is as men get older, they start to have hairs growing out of their ears and out of their nose, and they'll go and they may get a haircut, but they don't get a complete grooming. So I just wish that that was a little bit different.
So I didn't go into details. I just said I had my own personal grooming technique.
Those spa days, that's a great point, because those spa days that we ladies love so much, men can have those too, and have somebody groom you up. If you don't want to do all those things,
right,
you can have somebody do all that for you, and and you will feel great after. Like, you feel great after a spa day.
Yep, your women will appreciate it.
Yes. So I want to talk about something now that you touched on a little bit. So being a Black father, right? Yep. And right now, Black men are just disproportionately violently targeted right now, right? Yep. So does that affect your self-care? Does that affect how you deal with things? And does it affect how you parent?
Man, that's a deep conversation right there. I would say for me personally, it definitely affects how I parent. It motivates me to want to be more engaged, want to be more thoughtful when I'm teaching my kids several concepts of the world, especially with my youngest. I mean, kids, they just want to have fun. However, they notice everything going around them. I'm not sure if you've asked some of your younger either siblings or nieces and nephews, hey, did you see this in the news, or did they talk about this at school? And they'll actually say yes. Well, we never talked about it at home. So they're getting that firsthand information from someone else. Why not take the opportunity to talk to them, within a family setting, making it more comfortable for them? Because I'm pretty sure if you guys are used to having conversations with your kids, they'll probably appreciate it coming from you versus, the teacher at school who they don't even know. They probably don't even like. So that's one thing. And then being engaged with what's going on and being socially conscious, and understanding how can I make a difference, right? As a Black male, staying on top of those things, researching whatever I can do to make an impact, right? I know when I talk to a lot of Black males, they say they don't even want to vote, right? Well, I have a different perspective. Voting counts. Voting matters because that's how you hold, your public officials accountable. And it makes a difference. And I just feel like if you're giving up that right, you're giving up a lot of voice, and if you don't want to have a voice, then that basically saying you're okay with being muted. Shouldn't that frustrate you? Shouldn't that aggravate you? Then it leads back to self-care, right? So now you got to figure out different techniques to calm your anger, your aggression, when you could have just taken that one proactive step and make your voice be heard. So I don't know. Those are my thoughts.
So have y'all had the talk with Avery, like as far as just like Black brutality and like police and all of that?
Yes, we've had multiple talks, and he understands. I just don't think he's at the point to where he's showing any aggression. So that's good. He's not frustrated. He's just taking it in, and I'll continue to keep pumping that information into our conversations, because right now he's just soaking it in, and those are the best times. Trying to have a conversation with someone when they're aggressive or just don't want to hear it is extremely difficult.
And if I could just interject on that, with talking to Avery, with talking to any child, like every child is different. We have 4 children. Every single one of them is completely different. Avery is very sensitive. He's an empath. And we have to pick and choose how we talk to him about things, because he will get upset. And, he might just start crying and not say why he's crying, but he's just feeling all of these things. And so, as a part of being a parent, to me, it's hurtful. Of course, it's always hurtful to see your children hurt, but we have to take care of, we have to watch out for their feelings, take care of their feelings. They need self-care too. So, you know, we have to come to them in a way that's soothing and not like, oh my God, this is going on. You know what I mean? So, you know, having those talks sometimes is difficult for me because I know his personality. But we know we have to have them. It's just how. What's the best way to have that conversation? Yeah.
Well, there's no one way to have that conversation either. So if, you know, you have that one conversation and it doesn't go well, you got to try again, you know, and you just keep trying. So that's my only advice. If you are struggling with talking to your kids about that subject, just keep trying.
So I have another question. I was talking to a gentleman, and I believe he's like 68 years old, and he's still working. And I asked him, I said, well, what do you do, you know, for fun? What do you do for relaxation? And he basically says, well, I really don't do anything. I don't have any hobbies. I don't have, you know, I don't do anything. And I'm just wanted you to maybe talk on that. I think that, you know, throughout our lives, you know, we work every day and in and out. And then as our lives go on, our kids get grown. They're out of the house. Maybe they come back 3 or 4 times. I've experienced that, by the way. But how do men, or how would you suggest that men develop something that is outside of, you know, work, outside of things that may not bring them joy, so that as they age and as they mature and when they retire, they have something to do. They have something to live for. I guess that's what I'm basically saying.
Yeah, that's a great question. As a matter of fact, I honestly think it all starts with who you surround yourself with. So a lot of my experiences have been shaped from the people I surround myself with, you know, whether it be coworkers, family, you know, friends that I meet through other friends, right? And so we start talking and communicating, and then we start sharing ideas of what we do. And it's interesting. And I don't believe, in my heart, I don't believe that a man could just not be interested in anything. I don't believe that's the case. I do believe it's, are you interested in that topic, and are you interested in doing it with the people you're around? I know for me, if I'm not vibing with the person, I'm not interested in doing whatever you're talking about. I might even like it. So that's important. But here's going back to self-care. If you're taking care of yourself and you're having the mental capacity and physical energy to do that, you're going to most likely entertain those interests. You know, you're going to give it a shot. Whereas if you're not taking care of yourself and let's just say you're feeling lazy 5 days out of 7, you're not going to do that. And that's just reality, right? So it all starts with taking care of yourself. And then getting out into the community, your social areas, and communicating, forming those relationships. That's my advice. Don't enclose yourself within the confines of your walls, right? And you could just live in total comfort right there. Yeah. You have to step out of your comfort zone.
Well, and I totally agree with you on that. I'm a part of Habitat for Humanity. And I noticed that a lot of guys who have retired, they come and they volunteer to do, you know, Habitat for Humanity, or volunteer for whatever thing. It gets you out of the house. It gives you something to do. You're giving back to your community. You get something from it, as well as the people that you are helping. So, you know, that's a suggestion is, you know, do some volunteer work.
That's correct. That's the easiest way to get involved, you know, in your community, and also probably the best, because you'll have a group of like-minded individuals working towards the same goal. I mean, it's conducive for, you know, relationship building, right? So
giving back always feels good, right? It makes you feel good on the inside to give of yourself to other people. Yeah,
definitely, man. Yeah. So men, challenge yourselves, man. Get out there in the community, start volunteering. Interacting with your community and start giving. Be the best person you can be, right?
Be all you can be. Join
Hold
the
up, hold up,
army.
hold up.
That's hilarious. That's a really great question.
Yeah, Marsha, keep them coming, man.
Well, okay. I won't take up the whole show. Go ahead. Someone else ask him some questions.
Jen, what you got? I know you got something.
I don't have anything. I asked my one question. That was it.
Okay, so then let's talk about the elephant in the room.
All right.
In regards to men and having a sexual relationship, you know, like for example, if you're with a significant other, or if you're not, and you want to, you know, possibly be in a relationship, what's your thoughts on that? As far as how do you go about that? Okay, let me put it to you this way. Let's do a marriage situation. Okay, so you're in this marriage. You've been in this marriage for quite some time. Things have gotten a little bit, I would say, stale or whatever. Right. What are some of your suggestions to men and how they can boost that? I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just opening it up for discussion. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay, Nikki, I'm helping you.
So this is just pertaining to marriage, right? We're not talking about people.
This is pertaining to marriage first, and then we're going to get to the other.
Yeah.
Man, so I'll say you have to challenge. So, for instance, if you're the man and you're wanting something more, you have to challenge your significant other. But first, you have to be able to communicate with her. If you can't communicate with her, she's not listening to you. So don't even waste your time. But challenge her and help her to understand what you're looking for, that excitement, right? And you start off with certain small things, right? You know, just say, for instance, if you want more foreplay, right? You start off small with you doing more things like that. And then it continues to build, right? And she's getting a good vibe because you're communicating with her, y'all trying things, it's successful. And then, hey, who knows, you know, you might be having orgies, right?
Oh my God.
I mean, hey. Yeah.
Okay, just for that, we're going to probably get another 15 views. No, I'm just kidding.
Jen said on that note.
Right.
Nah, I mean, honestly, from a man's perspective,
I just
you
went
know.
and got the bottle. That's why. Get the whole bottle here. Just pour it.
Nah, honestly, from a man's perspective, I mean, we really just want to be stimulated at the end of the day, right? And so, from a woman's standpoint, if you're thinking about it, how are you stimulating your man? And if you can't come up with any answers, you probably need to look at yourself in the mirror again.
But wait, can it be any kind of stimulation? It can be mental stimulation, or just physical. So, we're talking just physical?
So it's a two-way street, right?
Because you're a guy. Don't just try to say it.
Yeah, don't say it because it sounds good.
No, right? it's a two-way street, right? So if you're going to hold your man accountable to be able to communicate, women, you better be able to communicate to your man as well. Don't say, well, you need to assume this or you should know this. No, we don't know, and we don't assume anything. So, yeah. As a matter of fact, if your first statement is, well, I thought you wouldn't know, X, wrong. Don't do that. No.
If that ever happens. If that ever happens.
Come on. That's the first thing y'all say. Well, you should have known that.
Women need to stop faking orgasms. Stop trying to make them feel like they can.
Stop.
Hey, Jen, there's a place and a time for everything, man. You know, hey, look, you talking about self-care, man. If I'm down, hey, and that makes me feel good, you better. Man, look, you just gave, especially if it's in the morning, you just gave me motivation to tackle my day, man. Don't be selfish and take the steam away.
I'm taking notes. over here. Got my look.
Yeah, but nah, I would say, Jen, yeah, you're right. Overall, yeah, they need to stop. Stop that. It's not helping because all it's doing is filling up guys' heads, right? Making them think they're something they're not.
Right, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Especially if you're trying to, if you're in a relationship, you're trying to get married, or you are married, the man thinks he's doing all these things, it's harder to change that later on, right? Because he's gonna be like, well, what happened?
Hold up. Let me ask this question. And I'll ask the ladies this. So if you are in a relationship and you're about to, I guess you're trying to get married, or you're in a serious relationship, are you faking orgasms? And if so, why?
I'm not having this conversation, but since you asked, no, I don't. I'm gonna ask. No, I don't. I don't. You have no. That no.
Yeah.
So there, a while back, a long time ago, it was many years ago, there was this comedian.
I was shouting out CT.
There was this comedian, and I can't remember which one because there were so many back then that were kind of raunchy, but I loved them. They were hilarious. And there was this one lady, and she said, what did she say? She said, sometimes, yeah, I fake them sometimes because sometimes I'm just tired and I just want to go to sleep already. So like, that's not necessarily right, but that's fact. Sometimes you're like, listen.
Like what's important is communication, like obviously. So that's number one, as long as you're communicating with your partner. I think it's different in marriage, versus a relationship, but I don't know.
Well, I will say this, coming from me, because I lost my husband back in December.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. And prior to that, he was ill for a couple of years before he passed away. But, I'm thinking that maybe sometime in the future, I might want to get back on the dating scene. And
I love that.
So I'm just thinking to myself, how is it that I want to approach something like that? But I have thought about it, and I want to be upfront and honest about if I get into a relationship and we become intimate or whatever. I think that I'm at an age now in my life to where I would be hurting myself if I wasn't being true to my partner. So as opposed to when I was much younger, I would probably say, I don't want to hurt their feelings, or I don't want to say something that they may not appreciate or whatever. I mean, I feel like I'm going to be upfront. No, that's not getting it for me. That's, this is what I want. But I think if more men and women express their true selves and what they want out of the relationship, I think it just makes it much more pleasurable. It makes it much more intimate. It makes you closer, and it's not a game that you're playing. It's something because when we think about it, I guess when we're raised, we're raised that, sex is maybe not, you should only wait until you get married. And it's, it's only for, if you have, I mean, it was just there was a stigma about it. And I think that as people and as human beings, we need to evolve from that. And we need to realize that sex is a blessing. It's a wonderful thing between two people, whether it be, whatever the two people are. And we need to be honest and upfront about that. I just think it helps you to have a healthier relationship with your partner.
Yeah, definitely, man. More men will appreciate it as well. On the flip side, more women will appreciate it, especially if you say you don't want anything out of the relationship. You just want to have a good time. Trust me, there are a lot of women that just want to have a good time. So just be honest.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think the unfortunate part about that, though, is that, like, so Marcia, your mindset is totally different, right now, than it maybe was when you were 20. And so that makes me think about the people that don't get to that point. Or when they do get to that point, it takes so long. Mm-hmm. And then it's just like, okay, well, half my life is gone and I could have been living. I could have been living.
Right.
Because it took so long to say, let me just be honest about what I want, what I need, and these things are natural. Like you said, it's a blessing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, Jen, you are the single. Well, I'm single too. What am I saying? But you're the young single one in the group. Is there anything you want to share in regards to, being healthy and taking care of yourself?
My generation, we just drink so much. And it's rooted with good intention to have fun. But we consume so much alcohol and, to be honest with you, drugs as well. So it's really important to have a balance. Like, I will turn up, okay? Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sometimes it's one day, sometimes it's every day, but I have to find balance. So I usually try to like work out. I'm on a really strict routine. So I work out during the week. And if I know I have something planned and I'm going to be drinking and stuff, I prepare for it. It's just really important, but it also ties into mental health. I know like sometimes I will be like drinking, and I'll catch myself and I'll like talk to my therapist and she's like, I think you're kind of like spiraling or you may be binging. What's going on? Tell me what's happening. So a lot of times it's tied into mental health and we don't really address that because we're like, this is my normal. I'm used to partying. I'm used to doing this. Like there's nothing else going on. And actually when you take a step back, you're like, oh no, I'm like, maybe having some anxiety or be slipping into depression or something like that. So just as far as health, if something is increasing in your life or you're consuming it too much, just take a step back and try to like, be like, hey, what's going on? Let me figure out what's happening. For me, it was just a bunch of birthdays. I promise, guys, I'm okay. But I do catch myself, especially when you get like those like winter blues or just being in the house a lot. Whenever you're increasing something in consumption, just take a step back and make sure that you're doing it in a healthy way. So that's my only thing.
Hey, Jen, you might want to clarify your relationship status, man. I think your DMs are about to blow up.
No. Anyway, next question.
You did bring up a really good point, though, Sissy, and I don't know how to address this, but since we're coming off of this whole COVID situation, everybody was pretty much stuck at home for a period of time. And so those of us who drink, we may have, our consumption may have increased significantly because we were home all the time.
Mine did.
And that's just a part of taking a look at it. Yeah,
and so during that time, and even still now, people are still doing a lot more eating, a lot more drinking. And so what do you do though? Do you say, okay, well, am I doing this because I'm depressed? Am I doing it because I'm bored? Because all kinds of things come into play with that.
Yeah, you just have to assess it. If you're doing it because you're in the house more and that's your new normal, then obviously, that's okay. But if you're doing it because you just got out of a relationship or because your feelings were hurt or you had a long, stressful day, but every day is turning into a long, stressful day and you're drinking constantly, then, you have to adjust to what's going on around you.
Yeah, I agree with that. Understand what's temporary, right?
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. And since we are talking about drinking, and I'm seeing everybody else lifting up their cocktail.
Yes.
Cheers to you guys.
Yes.
I wanted to also say too, I think that, is when you drink in moderation, but another way to help with your intake of alcohol is to have a drink and then have the same amount in water. And that kind of, keeps you hydrated. It keeps you on track. And then you probably realize that you're not drinking as much as you probably would if you didn't intake your water. So after this, I will have a glass of water.
I love.
Yep.
Very good conversation.
Yeah.
So
Another topic?
No, I don't, because you talked about the parenting and all of that. So I think those were my questions. Those were all my questions.
Cool.
Okay, so tell me what your shirt says. It says something king.
Black King.
Hold on. Black King. I am who I am, and I don't need your approval.
Your approval is not needed.
And Jen, what does your shirt say?
Mine just says Black Power. It has some Black women on there. I don't know. Their names are on the back. I think one is Rosa Parks and some very cool Black women. Oh, and what's her name? Shakur?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, my shirt says Glamour Girls, and let me tell you about this shirt. 2 years ago, my girlfriends that I grew up with, we decided to take a little girls trip, and we've been going we didn't get a chance to go in 2020, but when we do go on a girls trip, we always make sure that we make us some t-shirts. So this happens to be a t-shirt from one of my girls trips.
Oh, girls trips are always fun.
Cute. Yes.
Nice. Yep.
Well, cheers, y'all. Do y'all have anything else, or you have any closing statements?
I just think from a man's perspective, guys, we just need to start taking our health more seriously. Do those things I talked about at the beginning, staying on top of your doctor's appointments, mental exercises, challenging yourself to live that lifestyle, that healthy lifestyle that will keep you here on this earth to be with your kids, man. I mean, especially if that's your most prized possession, right? Your pride and joy. You want to stay here and be in their lives as long as possible. Take it seriously. It's not a joke, because anything can happen, and you don't want your kids living in this world alone, man. Especially this world, America nowadays. No, you don't want that.
Exactly. And I wanted to just add to that. Even if you are not in your children's lives on a daily basis for whatever reason, that time that you are in your kids' lives, it is so crucial and it's so important. And you have to make sure that you take the time and engage in being in your kids' lives, whether they're in your house or out of your house. I think a lot of times we lose that, you know, for whatever reason you are no longer with the person that you created these beautiful creatures with, but that doesn't mean that you have to be removed as well. And to me, I feel like that no matter what, you have to make a way to do that because it's so important.
Yeah.
I agree.
Absolutely.
For self-help and self-care Sunday, is that a wrap, guys?
I was just gonna
No,
say,
Jen was about to say
something.
you know, sometimes we have to remind our men to take care of themselves, you know, to take a step back and give them time to do that. Book a spa day for your babe, book some time off, take the kids out the house, tell them to take the day. So encourage your men as well. It's not all, you know, it's on him, but a lot of times he doesn't feel like he can take that time away. So as women, just try to encourage them to do that and remind them. Self-care Sunday.
Self-care Sunday. Thank you, ladies, again for an excellent session. Thank you, sweetie, for an excellent session.
Okay,
And
you guys have to kiss.
we have to kiss?
Oh, mom and dad.
No problem there. So we will see you guys same time next week. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.